Hey guys, in today's video, I'm doing another tropical update, and this is a really special one because 2020, congrats. You became the second Atlantic hurricane season on record in history of any Atlantic hurricane season to become the second Atlantic hurricane season in history to get to the Greek alphabet. Yes, we have officially entered the Greek alphabet. It might not seem obvious because you might not see, hey, where's that first Greek name storm on here? Well, it's a bit cut off, but it's right over here. Let's see if I can actually get this thing to work. Right there. Subtropical storm Alpha. It's formed so far to the east in the Atlantic basin there that it's like right near the border, right near the coast of Portugal, that part of it is cut off from the NHC tropical map for the Atlantic. But yes, you can see it right there. There is Alpha, subtropical storm Alpha. It was just named as of around 11, 12 o'clock. So that's crazy stuff. And in fact, we even got Wilfred being officially named there from that Invest 98L, which is very interesting as well. And we all thought that Tropical Depression 22 was going to be Wilfred or Alpha, but no, this will become Beta, the second name in the Greek alphabet. So we're going to be getting even closer to 2005 just within these this next day or two. It's insane, honestly. Of course, we have Teddy here, the major Hurricane Teddy, 130 mile per hour Category 4 Hurricane Teddy, pressure's at 947 millibars, moving to the northwest at 12 miles per hour. That's going to be affecting Bermuda and then Atlantic Canada around Nova Scotia and maybe very eastern portions of New England. But that's not going to be too much of a deal there. But you can see Wilfred. Wilfred is a tropical storm that has sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, pressures at 1,008 millibars, and it's moving pretty fast to the west-northwest at 17 miles per hour, while subtropical storm Alpha is, by the way, also moving at 17 miles per hour, but to the northeast, it's at 50 miles per hour, 999 millibars for its central pressure. It's a honestly, pretty strong storm, a pretty strong named storm for especially how far north it formed and was named, and it's a subtropical storm, so that's pretty interesting. We'll see if Alpha is somehow able to, maybe become fully tropical somehow before it makes landfall in Portugal, because as you can see with where it is and where it's going to be going, it will be making landfall in Portugal quite shortly. And in fact, it will be pretty much dissipated by tomorrow, honestly. So that's pretty interesting. A very short-lived, pretty decently strong subtropical storm there. Very fascinating. Wilfred as well is also going to be a relatively short-lived tropical storm. It may get maybe slightly stronger. It's at 40 miles per hour. Could peak at 50 miles per hour. Could maybe get to 55, 60. But you can see, really, by the time we get to early next week, especially Monday, Tuesday, it will be pretty much dissipated. Especially by Tuesday, it'll be a post-tropical depression. We all thought, I think a lot of us thought when we get Wilfred, that name sounds like it's going to be a pretty beastly storm, but no. Because we all thought, maybe that Gulf Tropical Depression 22 would be Wilfred, and that one honestly could potentially become a decently strong storm. Though Tropical Depression 22 here is it's a pretty interesting track there, as you can see. It's going to be moving generally to the north for now, and then once we get towards Sunday, it starts to curve as we get towards tomorrow, what am I saying? Tomorrow, Saturday, it will start to curve towards the east and go directly east, potentially becoming a hurricane, in fact, heading towards late Sunday, early Monday, and then as of right now, it seems like the NEC thinks it might weaken back to a tropical storm as it's getting very close to the Texas coastline. But some of the models kind of forecast for, especially the European model, has it just kind of meandering off the Texas coast and then shooting a bit directly towards the east, and then maybe making landfall more towards Louisiana, or like somewhere around Louisiana. So that'll be very, very interesting to watch and see how that occurs. But yeah, Beta could be a hurricane. Beta in 2005 also became a hurricane. It became a Category 3 hurricane, became a major hurricane in 2005. And that form, Beta in 2005, formed though more. If I go back to the map here, it formed right in this area, and then was a pretty short-lived system. Rapidly intensified, became a Cat 3, made landfall in Central America and dissipated. But this could be Beta and pose a threat to the United States, and also potentially become a hurricane. Now, it is yet to be seen whether or not Tropical Depression 22 could become a pretty strong system. But as of right now, it will most likely definitely become a named system and potentially become a hurricane. And, we'll see as well whether or not it is able to get any stronger, because of course the Gulf of Mexico has pretty much the warmest sea surface temperatures in the entire Atlantic basin, excluding maybe the very western parts of the Caribbean. So it has a pretty sustainable, conducive environment for the system to be able to intensify pretty far if it does choose to. Now then, as well, by the way, we have two other disturbances. The second disturbance is going to come off Africa. As of right now, doesn't have that high of a chance of development currently. It has a 0% chance of development, of course, over the next 2 days, since it's over Africa. And it has a 20% chance of formation over the next 5 days once it once it does get into the Atlantic, it will, of course, have its best chance to develop. And then we have this disturbance up here, which, by the way, as you can see, if maybe if I should zoom in here a bit so you guys can read that a bit better, it says post-tropical cyclone Paulette. Yeah, so this system was Paulette, and now it has, if I zoom back out, a low to medium chance now, as of the 2 p.m. advisory, to become a named system. Has a 30 to 40% chance of development over the next 2 to 5 days. Fascinating. Truly fascinating. I mean, this is very, very 2020, honestly. This kind of thing, honestly, I am blown away by what is just going on today in the tropics. And it says the cyclone is forecast to move quickly southward for the next couple of days and then stall over marginally warm waters a few hundred miles south or southwest of the Azores by the end of this weekend. The cyclone could subsequently redevelop tropical characteristics late this weekend or early next week while it moves little. And so, yeah, we could honestly be getting, gamma, maybe gamma, I don't know, going towards later this weekend into early next week. I mean, why is this frozen? This is annoying. There we go, let's just reload that kind of. But, yeah, I mean, of course, Invest was 99L, this was Invest 99L. All of a sudden quickly just became Subtropical Storm Alpha all of a sudden, and is a pretty decently strong subtropical storm for where it is. So this system, could maybe pull the same thing. Who knows? But it's very, very fascinating to see that, because if we look at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook, this second disturbance will likely go pretty much right towards the the Cabo Verde Islands, and be potentially develop into a tropical system. We'll see, and be a Cabo Verde type tropical system. Now, it doesn't seem likely whatsoever. It seems that the system will develop or anything. This system very well could, honestly. We'll see as we progress through the rest of today into tomorrow and the rest of the weekend, what its chances are and what the agency sees and how sees with the system and how the system progresses with how it looks now and how it starts to look as we head into this weekend, into the rest of this weekend, into early next week. So that'll be very, very interesting to watch and watch progress. So that's look at what the National Hurricane Center is looking at over in the tropics right now. Very, very fascinating. Just I guess real quick, also here's Hurricane Teddy's current NHC forecast. It's forecast to continue towards the northwest between now and late Sunday, and continue to be a major hurricane up until it kind of brushes Bermuda, it seems, and then start to weaken back to a hurricane and most likely mainly impact Nova Scotia. And we'll see, depending on how it interacts with whatever is left of that cold front there, how large it gets, because then it could, if it gets large enough, it could impact slightly parts of the eastern New England, New Brunswick, but we'll see. It's looking more and more likely that it will just start to curve north and just head directly north, right in towards Nova Scotia and into the very very eastern parts of Canada. So that is a look at Teddy. Now let's look at tropical tidbits and look at gosh. All right, we'll look at the satellite imagery for Teddy. I'll show you satellite imagery for Teddy. Tropical Depression 22. This is alpha, honestly. Is this alpha or is this alpha? I think this is alpha. But I'll show you both, I guess, potential tropical cyclone 23, and this would be alpha, not potential tropical cyclone 24 now. So first, let's look at the satellite imagery for Teddy. And Teddy, of course, again, it's a major hurricane, so it looks great, honestly, with lots of great convection there, as you can see. It has a pretty decent eye. Its eye is kind of degraded a bit. It isn't looking, of course, as great as it did yesterday. You can see it's really kind of degraded a lot, and is definitely on more of a weakening trend now. It started weakening late last night. It peaked at 140 miles per hour with pressure at 945 millibars. Now it's around 130 miles per hour currently with pressure at 947 millibars. So it just slightly weakened for now, and it will likely continue to weaken a good bit as it continues towards the northwest, towards Bermuda, and definitely weaken as it curves north and goes directly north towards Nova Scotia. So there's what Teddy looks like. It still has some decent convection with it, and good outflow, but still on a weakening trend. Here's Tropical Depression 22, which, God, I don't know when this will be named. Maybe later today, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to wait till tomorrow for it to be named. But, I mean, currently, it looks pretty good. Its center is kind of displaced from the convection. There's all that main convection more towards the north and east of the center. The center, I believe, is somewhere around there. Might be a little bit under some of the convection, but still a little bit displaced. Yeah, if that kind of continues and the center continues to get farther and farther in towards the center of all that good, really strong convection, where the cloud tops are, again, negative 70, 80, even some negative 90 degree cloud tops, it will quickly become beta, because since it's already a tropical depression, next it would be a tropical storm and would officially be named. So there's Tropical Depression 22, looking pretty good there. This is Wilfred. This is not potential tropical cyclone 23, by the way, actually. So you can see Wilfred. It's a weak tropical storm, only 40 miles per hour. It's like barely a tropical storm, but still has actually pretty decent convection, honestly, with it. The problem, I think, mainly with the system as of right now is just the center is a bit displaced a little bit to where the main core of convection is. But, we may see the center try to get closer to underneath the convection, and we might see it strengthen a little bit more before it starts to rapidly weaken and dissipate going into early next week. And then finally, let's look at what is now alpha. This is alpha. Now, you can see the satellite imagery type of look is not as great for alpha because of how far east and the north in the Atlantic it is towards Portugal, but you can see it has, I guess, it seems decent convection, or I guess enough convection that it is named. It definitely looks like a subtropical system, as you can see, and will likely move inland over Portugal pretty soon, honestly. It might have already, actually, but in any case, it will likely move over Portugal quite soon in any case. So the remnants of Paulette, just because we're monitoring that disturbance that now has a below to medium even chance of development now. There's the remnants. It's definitely moving very far to the south. Barely has any convection with it right now, but has some convection with it. Very, very light amount of convection, and I guess we'll have to continue to track this and see how it looks going towards Sunday, Monday. See if it explodes enough or gets enough convection to maybe become another name system. I don't know. It'll be very, very fascinating to see happen, honestly. Alright, now we're on tropical tidbits again, by the way, and now we're looking at the forecast models, and I'll show you the overall North Atlantic. This is the GFS model. This is a 12Z run of the GFS model, and I'll zoom this in farther for you guys. Bring this over there. Yeah, okay, so you can see there's TD22, there's Teddy, and I believe here's Wilfred there. There's that other disturbance that's over Africa. Here's the remnants of Paulette that has a 30 to 40% chance of development now. There's Alpha. So pretty active tropics right now in the Atlantic, as you can see. And the GFS has TD22, as you can see there in the Western Gulf, strengthening pretty well and pretty far. Definitely looks like it will become a named system pretty shortly. Starts hanging out right around the Texas coastline and then moves a bit to the east, right along the Texas coastline, and then moves inland right near around the southwestern part of Louisiana, near the Louisiana-Texas border. That's the exact same area where Laura moved inland and made landfall. Totally devastated that region. So let's hope that if it were to make landfall on the Gulf Coast, it will either make landfall just real quick in Texas and be done with, or it moves to the east and moves a bit farther to the east, so it makes landfall more towards the Florida panhandle or something. And then if we just bring this back there's Teddy. Teddy starts to interact with whatever amount of precipitation is there left of that cold front, gets shot north, and it looks more likely now that it will just get shot directly north and just hit Nova Scotia, move farther inland, start to dissipate. And then there's Wilfred down here, likely going to fall apart pretty quickly, and of course Alfred, no, Alpha, bring this back. Alpha moves into Portugal, dissipates. There's the remnants of Paulette, and the GFS has it moving farther to the south and seems to have it strengthening a bit, or at least for a bit of time, and strengthening a bit or enough in that region to maybe become a tropical system. We'll see. And then of course, it has TD22 hanging out for a while and lasting a pretty long time, going into now Thursday, September 24th, and lasting for, what is today? Today is the 18th, so lasting maybe about a week or so. So that's pretty significant there, honestly. And then it, as of right now, kind of shows the tropics dying down a bit, though as we head towards the end of the run, you can see the Caribbean starts to get a lot more precipitation within it, and it seems like there's some tropical waves in there, and you see there's that closed low pressure system, and then has that this new tropical system form there, getting towards the end of the run, getting into early October, and this reminds me a lot, just going to say this, for the GFS showing this system, likely it's pretty far out, so it honestly most likely won't happen, but may happen, we'll see. But just to kind of comment on the system, reminds me a lot of Sandy's track from 2012. Kind of had that formed in that general same area. Wilma also kind of explosively intensified in that also same area, but reminds me more of Sandy, because then it curves to the north and heads directly north over Jamaica, Cuba, and heads towards the eastern coast of Florida and maybe up towards the east coast, up the east coast. So that's very interesting. That, I guess in general, throughout this whole run, the GFS continues to show lots of tropical activity in the Atlantic from now getting through the rest of September into early October. So we're going to have to keep our guard up and continue for future lots of amounts of tropical activity to continue to form. So there's that. Don't want to scare anyone, but that seems to be kind of the bit of the truth to it. Alright, so here's a European model. I'm showing you the vorticity for the system. So this vorticity over here, that's TD22. This very strong vorticity here is Teddy. This weak vorticity here is Wilfred. This kind of vorticity here over Africa is that other disturbance. This vorticity here is the remnants of Paulette, which still has pretty decent amounts of vorticity to it. There's Alpha, it also has some decent amounts of vorticity to it. We move this farther in time. Has Wilfred falling apart, Teddy going straight into Nova Scotia, just like the GFS shows, falling apart. And also has, just like the GFS, also has TD22 strengthening a good bit, hanging out along the Texas coastline, and then curving east in towards the southwestern Louisiana coast and around the Louisiana-Texas borders. So the European and GFS are both in really good agreement, actually, with their current runs right now, with where they think all these current named tropical systems that we're monitoring will go. So that's a pretty interesting thing to take note of. All right, now let's show you the CMC model. Gotta let this load in here. Okay. All right, so here we go. So again, here's the vorticity for TD22. This very strong vorticity is Hurricane Teddy. This vorticity here is Wilfred. This somewhat of vorticity here, whatever vorticity is there, right there, is disturbance over Africa. There's that vorticity for the remnants of Paulette, and there's a vorticity for Alpha up here. Move this farther out in time. Alpha moves into Portugal, dissipates, shows the remnants of Paulette just hanging out there, having decent vorticity for a bit and then falling apart. Also has, just like the European and GFS models, all three models, CMC, European, and GFS, all agree on the fact that Teddy will barely miss or scrape Bermuda and then head directly north into Nova Scotia. So that's very good that they all agree on that. But then here's the only kind of bit of a difference here with especially TD22 for the CMC compared to what the European and GFS are showing. CMC has TD22 getting much closer towards towards the coast of Texas and kind of making landfall there, weakening a bit, then moving back a bit over the Gulf, but still very weak, and the remnants of it move in towards southwestern Louisiana. So I guess in general, all three models have full-on true agreement with pretty much all of the name systems that we're monitoring in the tropics. So that's a very good sign. That is a very good sign that we see that. So, yeah, I mean, again, that's just really great that all the three main models are agreeing on where all these named systems will be going. So that's pretty interesting. All right, now also real quick, I'll show you the sea surface temperatures in the North Atlantic, how warm the Atlantic basin is right now in the hurricane season, and also, actually just real quick, I'll also go over the ENSO right now. We're in a La Nina. We're officially in a La Nina. It formed earlier this month, towards the end of August into very early September, and La Nina will stick around with us through the rest of fall, through winter, and as of right now, will stick around with us all the way towards next spring. Which is the current forecast right now for that. You can see, of course, the ENSO regions are all very, very cold, especially getting towards the eastern portions of that ENSO region, closer towards the coast of South America. So we're definitely in a La Nina, and it will continue to get stronger, quite likely, as we head through the rest of the fall towards winter. All right, now let's show you how the Atlantic Basin is looking for sea surface temperatures. And, well, there we go. You can see all the MDR region is very, very warm, and at the very least warm enough to support tropical development, but in general very, very warm to definitely support tropical development. Same thing in the Gulf of Mexico, all of the Caribbean, the two hottest spots, warmest sea surface temperature spots in the entire Atlantic Basin to definitely support tropical development. The subtropics region here around Florida, the Bahamas, north of Cuba, north of the Hispaniola, and north of Puerto Rico, also very, very warm, and is also able to help tropical development to form, and it's very conducive for tropical development. So, yeah, in general, we're definitely going to be seeing lots more tropical systems definitely form and be named, because just simply of the fact of how warm the entire general Atlantic Basin is for where the tropical systems form. So we're in this through November, where we got still another, again, like 2.5 months left of the season. We're likely going to see many, many more named storms form, and we will likely be 2005 because of that. I'm saying that right now, honestly. I think we'll likely end with around 30 named storms total, which will be 2005 by around 2 named storms. So we'll most likely be around that range to end the season with total named storms. All right, now getting towards the Wikipedia page now, just to close out the video. There's the Wikipedia page for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. Again, we now, with all this extreme amount of activity that has just been forming today, we have a total of 24 depressions, 22 named storms, which has now made the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season the true second most active Atlantic hurricane season on record. Now the 1933 Atlantic hurricane season is the third most active Atlantic hurricane season on record. And so, yeah, there we go. We beat 1933, and now we're on our way to beat 2005. And, yeah, that's, there it is. It's crazy. We've had a total of 8 hurricanes and a total of 2 major hurricanes, because now Teddy is our second major hurricane. Total fatalities this season is at 122, and total damage so far this season is around $22.235 billion in damage. So it has become a bit more damaging season because Sally caused somewhere around $5 billion in damage. Now that was again, that was actually the preliminary total damage estimate for Sally, so we could see that total damage actually potentially go up, because I do think that Sally really caused somewhere around $10 billion of damage, maybe a little more. So I do honestly expect the total damage for Sally, unfortunately, to go up a bit. But again, look at, I mean, just scrolling down, this is like we've had all these systems. There's Teddy, Vicky, TD22, which is going to be weird with this timeline. It's going to be showing like Wilfred, I'm saying Teddy, Vicky, and then Beta, and then Wilfred, and then Alpha, and then whatever other. So it's kind of like a weird thing with named storms this year, of like the names kind of backwards and like in weird order. But yeah, that's what's going to happen with the named storms we've had through the season. So there's 24 total systems, 22 named storms. Likely going to have 23 total named storms towards the end of today into tomorrow, with likely having TD22 becoming tropical storm Beta pretty soon. So there's that. And Teddy, by the way, Teddy shows it hasn't affected any areas, hasn't caused any damage or caused any deaths. That will change because it will affect Bermuda and Atlantic Canada, Nova Scotia, Atlantic Canada, and maybe some parts of very eastern New England, depending on potentially how large Teddy gets, with that energy from whatever energy is left of the cold front. So there's that, and then of course, you know, Alpha is affecting the Iberian Peninsula. That's Portugal and France, I believe. Those are the 2 countries that are connected to each other. I believe that's it. And it's caused unknown damage, hasn't killed anyone. But and then TD22 again hasn't affected any areas, hasn't caused any damage or killed anyone. Though that will also change because it will likely affect some portions of the Gulf Coast of the United States. So there is that update now for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. We are officially in the Greek names, guys. So rest of the hurricane season, we'll be just going through the Greek alphabet and see how far we get into the Greek alphabet. I think we'll have, by the end, somewhere around 9 total Greek named storms. So that would, by the way, make us ahead of 2005, make 2020's Atlantic hurricane season the most active Atlantic hurricane season on record. So, yep, that's just crazy stuff, honestly. But again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it informative, enjoyable, and hopefully you consider liking the video, commenting. If you're a first-time viewer and you enjoyed what you saw in this video, if you like tropical-related videos, I do tons of that on my channel, so please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.